Hey guys, welcome back to this electric blues course. My name's Dan from Your Guitar Academy and we're now on lesson 20. And what we're going to be doing now is continuing our concept of the quick change blues, okay? But we're now going to be doing it with our root on the A string, okay? So essentially, we've got this pattern that we've been using from the E string that you kind of can just copy and paste into any key, as we discovered. And now we're going to give you a pattern from the A string. So if you're kind of dealing with a key where you don't want to be right up here, so you want to be back down here, and that means making the root note from the A string, you're now going to have another super simple pattern that you can copy and paste, okay? Plus a new turnaround to learn. So pick up your guitar and let's get started. Hey guys, so if you're just tuning in, then do remember that you can head on over to the website to get all of the interactive tab, the fretboard diagrams, and the full write-ups for every single lesson. It looks great on the mobile, on the desktop, however you're viewing it. Head over there and we'll put the links in the description and in this video. Also, please do like and subscribe to this video if you're enjoying it so far and if you're enjoying the course, as well as leave us a comment. We make sure we get back to every single comment that you guys leave. Okay guys, so that's the track that we're going to be learning and also going into detail as to why we're learning this, okay? New turnaround and a different way to look at our 12 bar. Once again, it's a quick change. So we now understand the concept of quick change. We just do bar 1 as the root chord, bar 2 as the 4 chord. Everything else stays the same. Now the difference here, and what I wanted to do deliberately here, was show you what might happen if you're giving a key where you don't want to be way up here. So for example, the key anything from about, C sharp onwards, so C sharp is here, or maybe even C. You want a kind of chunky sound, but you don't want to be going up here, and therefore, if you're on D, you don't want to be going. If you're on D sharp, E, even F, an F sharp, maybe you don't want it right up here, but equally you don't want it. That's a very clogged up sound down there. There's loads of examples of keys whereby actually it would make a lot more sense to start on the A string. So in this instance, we're doing E because I think E on the A string is a nice place to be. Okay, the 7th fret, really nice in the middle of the fretboard. We're going to get a nice rich sound there without being too high or too low. Okay, now that's of course dealing with the kind of cage chords that we're using. As you advance on this, you should, in theory, be able to do a 12 bar in any position of the neck anywhere, but that's something for level 2 and 3 of our blues course. Don't worry, we've got your back. We'll get you there eventually. For now, let's nail this. This is our first stepping block. So the idea here is that we've got our root chord, but now it's on the A string. So we just need a slightly new pattern because we've been very used to the idea that we have a root chord on the E string, and then we've got the 4 chord there, the 5 chord there. So it's kind of like down and across. Root, 4, 5. When you've got your root chord on the A string, the really easy practical way to learn this is you've got root, 4, 5. Okay? So basically, your root chord, in this case is the E. If I go down a string and back 2 frets, as if I was going down a power chord, imagine a power chord there. That's your 4 chord, and that's your 5 chord. So the 5 chord is literally just above the root. Okay, so I can have root, 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 4 chord, root chord, 5 chord. So all we then have to do, that's then a pattern that you can easily jump to. All you then got to do is create the right shapes. So we're going to use the concept we did in the last lesson of the triad versions, okay? So in this instance from here, remember from that root note, we would have possibly done this C shape or maybe this A shape, but we're currently doing this really cool little triad, this root, third and flat 7. So there's our first chord. When we drop down to the 4, and this is the case, it is dropping down to the 4, we've got our E-shaped cage chord there. So now, we're just going to do that triad again, exactly like we did in the last one. So we've got the flat 7, major third, and 5th. So this time round, we're kind of going from there to there. Okay? If it helps for now, you can make these full versions. And the 5 chord, of course, will be the B. Okay? So really slowly, we're kind of going like this. There's the 4 chord, back to the 1 chord. Okay, so just spend a second, I'll just pause for a second. Can you get that into your head now? So we're starting for a 12-bar blues and we're on our A string root note. To get to the 4 chord, we go back, we go down like so. So down 1 string and back 2 frets. And we play basically whatever you want to play there, but for now we're going to do that version, just omitting the E, the root note, and back to the root chord, so the E7. Okay. Then we carry on through our 12 bars. So we even can do the same, the off and on chromatically, exactly the same as we did in the last track. Then back to the A, so the 4 chord, then back to the root chord. Then, of course, we're going to go to the 5 chord. So we're here. So that's the B. So remember, the 5 chord is just literally 1 string above where you are to the 5 chord. So we're on this E shape, which we're going to convert to that, and then just to that, or however you want to fret it. Chromatically down. From the 5 to the 4, you always just chromatically drop down. And then when we hit the 11th bar, we're going to hit that E7, so the root chord 7, and then go to a turnaround, okay? I'll show you that in a second. So let's just get up to that point first. So here it is with the drums, okay? So we'll just drop it down to 80 BPM. 1, 2, 3, 4. So root, 4 chord. Just learn this pattern, back to the root. Let's go up chromatically, and back down chromatically. Then the 4 chord. 1, 2, back to the root chord. Then the 5 chord is that B, chromatically drop down, and we're going to hit that. Now we're going to hit our turnaround, okay? So in this case, I'm going to bring in a new turnaround, because this one, with this chord here, we've got loads of ways that we could do that. I'm just going to throw a few out there. You could go to this particular cage chord, and you could just get rid of the E, so get rid of the root note, and just take the 5th, the flat 7, and the major 3rd, and go like that. For example, so many options. But what we're going to do is we're going to come up here, and the reason I like this one is because it fits. Firstly, it fits really nicely if you are doing a quick change like we're doing. I think it suits the style, maybe. But secondly, it's really easy to find. I think it's really easy to find. Basically, all you have to do to find this one, okay, is you've got to find the root note on the high E string. Okay, so in this case, the root is E. So we know the E on the high E string is the 12th fret. You pop your little finger on the 12th fret, and you're going to bring your 3rd finger down, so it's missing the B string, missing the G string, and hitting the D string. Remember, that's the flat 7. And we literally drop through flat 7, 6, and then we're going to eventually hit the 5, so flat 6, 5. Okay? Now you can either pick it like that, so you can basically, so low, high, low, low, high, low, low, high, low, low. Or as I'm doing in the track, I'm just sticking to that shuffle rhythm. So 1, 2, 3, 1, like that. Okay, so in that instance, I'm making sure that the B string and the G string are both blocked. I'm not even going anywhere near the A or the E string, the low E string. Okay, and then, so once we've got that little turnaround in there, so we're gonna go 1. And then I'm gonna come back, remember, I'll go to the 5 chord, which is B, but I need to come up 1. Remember, I'm gonna go up 1 first, so chromatically up from the B, and back down. Now in this particular track, I choose to do this. Just throwing another little idea at you here. You might like it, you might not. You might want to go with that, you know. Okay, but otherwise you could do, if that's your B, you got a root, a third, and a flat 7. It's the exact same shape we've been using on the E, just now moved up to the B. Just gives you a lower sound in this instance, and I'm going to slide that up to C7, and then back down. So you get, okay. Remember, if you're unsure about any of these frettings that I'm doing, do check out the tab if you've downloaded the course. Firstly, thank you very much. Massively appreciated. You'll have your workbook to go through with that. Otherwise, you can find the tab over on the website, which will have the links in this YouTube video. Okay. And that really is your new pattern, okay? And it's a pattern now you can apply every time you're trying to do a blues where you're starting on the A string. So let's just get the drum beat on and go all the way through that particular track. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Up, down. Then the 4 chord, which is the B. Then we come into the turnaround section, 1. And round you go, okay? So just spend a minute kind of trying to get that together. That's the gist of the second style of 12 bar that we can do based around the A string. And I'm going to just show you now how easy it can now be to change the key. So we're going to go up to 90 BPM, okay? And I'm just going to throw a couple of keys at you and just transpose all of this into those keys. Now, as I go to various different keys, let's see where that turnaround ends up. Remember, with the turnaround, the only thing you need to be aware of is you need to very quickly be able to find the root note on the high E string, okay? So let's just start with the key of, for example, if we're kind of aiming to do it here, let's do a D, shall we? So a D, there's a D. Okay, I could have done it here, but I'm going to do it here. And let's give it a go. Try and do it with me. See if you can. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we go down to the 4 chord, up to the 1 chord. Let's chromatically ascend and back down. Then the 4 chord, back to the 1 chord. Now I'm going to go to the 5 chord, drop down chromatically, and now to my turnaround. How did we find that? So the trickiest bit there is probably just finding that D. As soon as you found that D, the turnaround works really well. And then from there, you need to locate that 5, go up a semitone, and then back down, okay? Let's do another key, okay? I'm really gonna push you guys here. You are gonna get this for sure, okay? Just might need to go around it a few times this video, but it's gonna absolutely sink in. There's just a pattern to learn, okay? It's just, and you're just copying and pasting it to every single key. So we've done D, so let's just say, for example, let's do an F, because that's really high, and that's really low. And in fact, let's do an F sharp because, you know, why not? That's a more complicated key potentially. So you'd probably say G flat really, but it doesn't matter. Let's go There's the F sharp or G flat. There's our first chord. Let's give it a go, shall we, guys? Ready? A 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 chord. Chromatically up. Back to the 4. And then back to the 1. Now the 5. Chromatically drop down to the 4. And then I'll turn around. F sharp. Okay, so a little bit harder again because you've got to find that F sharp. Okay, and there we go. Once you've found it, it's all fun and games from there. Okay, so there we have it. There's your cool new turnaround that you can learn and add to anything you want. And I'm going to give you one final little tip here. If you love that turnaround, you can bring that into the other one as well. Remember that, you know, let's say I come back to the key of A and I'm down here and I'm doing my usual, you know, the 1 chord, 4 chord and 5 chord. When I come to my turnaround, you're already on the A. So all you've got to do there is same concept. You know, all you've got to do to forever find that turnaround is just find that root note, apply the pattern, and then bring in the rest of it exactly as you've learnt it. So all the turnarounds are just totally interchangeable as long as you know how to find them. So you should know how to find those turnarounds now. So really spend a bit of time with that. Practice against various backing tracks in various keys and see how you get on. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. Please do remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. We do our absolute best to answer every single comment. If you've got questions, here is the place to write them so that we can get back to you and really help you out with this stuff. If you want to carry on with this course and you're loving it, then you can find the next lesson right here, and you can start the whole thing. The whole playlist is here on YouTube as well. So click one of those 2 links and I'll see you in the next lesson.